What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at Senator Cassidy's going to be talking about Social Security and Social Security reform. So we've been hearing a lot about this bipartisan group of senators that are trying to put together this plan. And so he's going to give us more details today. So this is a good video because we'll at least be able to hear what they're talking about when it comes to this negotiation, and then how we're going to move forward when it comes to Social Security reform. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification, clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just so you know, I am on Twitter, so you can follow me at the TEC Show Live. So follow me over there. I do post videos there as well. So when I launch a video on YouTube, I'll also post it on my Twitter, so you guys can check that out. And then if you guys follow me, I will follow you back. So just so you know that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to this video. Now, Senator Cassidy, he is a part of this nonpartisan group that's getting together and trying to figure out what to do with Social Security reform, how to move forward with Social Security reform. Last week he was talking about the president is not meeting with them, and so he needs the president's okay, is basically what he's saying, which is not true. They don't need the president's okay when it comes to moving forward with this legislation, and I'll talk a little bit about that at the end of this video. But let's go ahead and play the clip now. Here we go.
All right, Senator Bill Cassidy says we need to talk about the future of Social Security now, and he challenged Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen about this on Capitol Hill last week. See for yourself.
Why doesn't the president care?
He cares very deeply.
Then where is his plan?
He stands ready to work with Congress.
That's a lie, because when a bipartisan group of senators has repeatedly requested to meet with him about social, so that somebody who is a current beneficiary will not see her benefits cut by 24%, we have not heard anything on our request.
Well, I kind of think you nailed it. Joining me now on set, the aforementioned Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, ranking member of the Senate Health Committee. I mean, it's an odd way of him showing support for your efforts, if that's what he's referring to. And Yellen, I mean, I didn't understand that.
It is an incredibly odd way, because we made repeated requests to meet with them. Now, we can meet with staff, but when it comes to social, it has to be the president that makes the call.
And that's not true. That isn't true, because it has to go through Congress first. So as far as the president making the call, I don't know exactly what he's talking about there. I can understand negotiating, so putting a plan forward and negotiating with the president. But as far as the president putting a plan forward, he doesn't have to put a plan forward. That's what Congress is for. They create the bills, they approve the bills, and then they send it to the president for final signature. Now, of course, they're going to want his input, but they need to do the legwork. They need to actually do the research and make sure it works, get it approved in the Senate, get it approved in the House, and then get it to the president. They're not even talking about the House right now, which is very interesting. I mean, we're just talking about the Senate and the president. You have another chamber there. You have the House that needs to be in on this discussion, because they're going to have to sign off on it before it gets to the president's desk.
He's not meeting with us. It means he does not want to make the call. By the way, he's not submitted a plan, and Secretary Yellen in a later part effectively said they had not yet modeled just making people over $400,000 pay for Social Security. They've done nothing on Social Security, including not actually meeting with us.
Well, what I gather from them, apart from the politics, which are very nasty, they want to raise taxes. That's the only partial solution to it. You, on the other hand, have a much more interesting solution. Please tell us about it.
Yeah, so we had created a fund separate from Social Security, totally separate, and we'd invest in it and allow that money to be in a diversified portfolio.
Yep.
Yeah, think stock market, and it rises. Now, the risk is only on the fund. The beneficiary gets everything she's been promised, so she has no risk whatsoever. You hold it in escrow for 70 years, you allow the rate of return on the rate of return, and you're able to get to the point where you can bridge Social Security to where it actually works. Now, that's our goal. We'd bring that to the president. There's other things you might have to do. Those are subject to negotiation. but this is the core.
Point is, this is a market-oriented approach, point number one. You can make use of the good multiples. I mean, stocks for the long run. Jeremy Siegel, Burt Malkiel, they've all been on this show. Point number two, as I understand it, you're saying, okay, if the market stuff doesn't work, you're still going to be guaranteed. But if the market stuff does work, over time, you'll shuttle those returns into this system for the beneficiaries? Is
You'll
that right?
allow a rate of return for a period of time. You get the doubling effect, the rule of 72. And so at the end, it looks like a tulip because the fund grows, and then it just really grows. And you hold it in escrow until it hits that point, and then you pay off everything that you've had to borrow to pay those benefits, and maybe even you forever take care of the fund.
Do you have to borrow for the escrow fund?
You do have to borrow for the escrow
Initially.
fund. Yes.
And that would, I don't want too many details, but you'd say some chunk would have to be borrowed. And this would be run by trustees.
Correct. Right? Totally arm's
length from the system itself, arm's length from the politicians, arm's length from everything.
Yes. And you penalize anybody who tries to mess with it. And we would audit it every year and put those audits online so the American people can say, this looks like it's being run well. People like you would pour through it to make sure that it was really being run well. The American people have to have confidence.
I've wanted for a million years to use some kind of market-based mechanism to supplement Social Security. I mean, a lot of us have. Supply-siders have always wanted that. I mean, that's why I think this is a big plus. You should go. You're getting some support. You have both sides of the aisle. Do you need a commission to hide under to do this kind of thing?
Democrats and Republicans have come together to work to getting to a solution. What we need now is the President of the United States. If he really wants to meet with Republicans and Democrats to find a solution, we're bringing one to him. By the way, he can still change it. It's not written in stone. I said this is the centerpiece, but there's other parts. And he could have negotiation. But we shouldn't let it go broke so that someone currently receiving Social Security gets a 24% cut, and that's what he's choosing to do now.
Or you're going to have a massive tax hike wreck the economy.
Yes, a massive, or we're going to borrow so much that we will double our national debt. And CBO says they can't even score how bad that would be for our nation's fiscal health.
By the way, lower taxes and regulations, if I may, would grow the economy faster. That would help Social Security.
It would, absolutely. If the economy is growing faster, particularly if working people are making more money.
Right.
Rich people, they don't pay as much. It is a...
Okay, now I want you to hear what he just said because he actually, it's almost kind of a slip up when he says this, and he says it just like it's nothing, but he's talking about, and we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks as well, when it comes to if our economy's doing well, Social Security will do well because you have more people in the workforce. And the workers, they're paying into that payroll tax. But when it comes to the wealthy, they're not paying so much. And he admits to that right here. And we'll go back. I just want you to hear this because I just think it's interesting how he just kind of glosses over the fact that they're not paying. You know, we're relying on the working class. We're relying on the people who are working, but we're not really relying on the wealthy when it comes to paying into Social Security, that's the whole reason why they want to raise taxes. That's the whole reason why you have Democrats saying, hey, everyone should pay their fair share. We should raise the cap so wealthy people have to pay just the same as people who are working every day, working hard every day for their money. Wealthy people should be paying in as well. So let me play it back. Here we go.
Social Security.
It would, absolutely. If the economy is growing faster, particularly if working people are making more money.
Right.
Rich people, they don't pay as much. It is
Exactly. Rich people, they don't pay as much. But when it comes to working people, they're the ones that are paying the brunt of the taxes that are going to Social Security. So why not offset that by making the wealthy people that don't pay as much pay a little bit more? So that's Senator Cassidy. Now, I want to talk a little bit about his plan, or at least a portion of his plan, because you notice he's just talking about a portion. They're still talking about raising the full retirement age. They're still talking about some other things that need to be done. But what he wants to do is he wants to borrow money. And it's very interesting. In this interview, they didn't talk about an amount. And you saw that the interviewer, when it got to that point where they started, okay, we do need to borrow money. They didn't talk about how much money do we need to borrow. And they're talking about in the neighborhood of $1 trillion that they're going to need to borrow. And guess who they're borrowing that money from? The American people, because basically if you borrow that money, it's going to have to be paid back. And so what they want to do is they want to borrow money and put it into the stock market in the hopes that they'll be able to get a return, and enough of a return to pay off the money that they borrowed, as well as have money left over for Social Security. Now, this is going to take a period of time, and he said that they're going to put it in there for 70 years. I don't know exactly how that's going to work as far as pulling money out, because obviously we can't wait 70 years. In 10 years, we're going to be looking at a situation where the trust fund will run out of money, and that would mean that reduction that we've been hearing about of about 23%. And so I don't know exactly how that's all going to work. I don't know the details there. It would be nice if Senator Cassidy got together with this group of this nonpartisan group and put a plan on paper so we could see exactly how it works. All we're hearing right now is talk. And maybe that's why the president doesn't want to meet with them right now, because they haven't put anything on paper yet. Put something on paper and then bring it to the president if you want to do that. But then you also have to worry about the House. You have to get them on board, because if they're not on board, this is not going to go anywhere anyway. And so it's interesting. They're not talking about the amount that needs to be borrowed. If they did borrow this money, put it in the stock market, and it didn't do well, let's say we go into a recession and the stock market just tanks. Well, what happens with that borrowed money? It's just like if I were to say, okay, I want to invest some money in the stock market, and so I'm going to use my credit card, borrow money from my credit card, and then put it in the stock market and hope that in 30 days it will earn me some money so I can pay off the debt that I have from the credit card. That's basically what they're saying. So they're taking a big risk here by doing this. Now, the other option is to tax the wealthy. Start at $250,000, tax those people a little bit more, and that way that will automatically pay for the Social Security reform, as well as they're talking about a raise, that $200 raise for Social Security. And so that is a for sure thing, because we know the money's out there. And we know that there are people that aren't paying taxes that are making over $160,200. We already know that as a fact. And so if you tax people, and then what they want to do is they want to have the gap. So they're from $160,200 to $250,000, you still don't have to pay into the payroll tax. But once you get over that amount, over $250,000, then you'll have to start paying in again. And so with those people, we know that if you were to tax them, the money's coming in, and it would come in right away. You don't have to wait. You don't have to put it in the stock market. You don't have to do any of that. And so basically what Senator Cassidy wants to do is he wants to borrow from the working class to help pay for Social Security and not touch this issue that we have right now when it comes to the wealthy people not paying their fair share when it comes to Social Security. So I want to know what your thoughts are about this. I just think it's interesting that he's putting this on the president, saying it's the president, that's why we can't move forward, when they know all they need to do is put something in paper. They put something on paper and move it through the Senate and then move it through the House. The president would most likely sign off on it if it's a good bill. If not, they can put it on paper and then go to the president with that paper and say, look, this is what we want to do. What do you want to do? At least you have more of an argument. Right now, you don't really have an argument because all you're doing is talking. You're saying one thing, but you're not putting anything on paper. And so you can always say, well, yeah, this is what we want to do. And then when you get behind closed doors with the president, then you change up everything because you haven't put anything on paper. So put it on paper and maybe they can move forward that way. So I want to know what your thoughts are about this. So let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.